Hello, everyone. Hi, this is Pimo, and welcome to Pimo's Secrets. How are we doing this beautiful Tuesday evening? For some people, it's still morning, and for some, it's afternoon. However, the case is, how are you doing from where you are? As we always do, please let me see your comments. Let me know that you're with me, you're following me. A thumbs up, a hello, a hi, and also let me know where you are joining in from. Once again, my name is Maureen, and this Maureen Pimo, and this is Conversations with Pimo. Hello, everyone. How's your week been so far? I know it's just been, the third day of the week. How has it been? Has the month of August been treating you? Has it been treating you well? Come on, let the comments start rolling in. I'm pretty excited today because what we want to talk about is pretty sensitive, really sensitive, especially for we women. You know how it is with us when it comes to our looks, our hair, and all of that. So I really can't wait to dive in. But it will be so nice. Hi, good evening. Let you know where you're joining in from. Just a hello, hi, good evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really hope that this series has, been a blessing to as many as have, been able to join in. We started right from the month of July, and it has been super amazing. I mean, the stories have been very inspirational. I mean, really inspirational. And last week, I remember we had Tega, and it was amazing. Hello, First Holler Ventures. You're welcome. Blessing Kingsley, you are welcome. Adetayo Oyewumi, you are welcome. Hello, guys. Let's tag our friends. Let's send out reminders. Send a message to them on Facebook, on WhatsApp. Let's let them know Conversations with Timo is live. Yeah. Table decoration fun. Well, that's the name I see here from YouTube. Good evening from Dubai. Thank you so much for joining in. You are welcome. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. So I was saying that last week we had Tega, who had been under the influence of drug for a long time, and God miraculously delivered her from that addiction. And she shared her story with us from how so many things. I mean, it was just an emotional emotional session last week. And I loved her vulnerability. She was so down to earth, so honest, so real. And that is what we do on Conversations with Pimo. We have real people, real issues, and we try to share with you real lasting solution. That's just it. We talk about everything and everything. As long as it concerns us as human beings, we talk about it. And we just try to offer hope. We try to strengthen the faith of so many. And we also try to help as many as are going through that. Through the stories of people, they can find hope, some way, in their stories. Hello, hello, hello. Okonji Rose. Yeah, I think this is one of my speaker, maybe one of my speakers' relative, because I know that's her maiden name. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, good vibes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Everyone, you're welcome. All right. All right. Let's get rolling. So today I have an amazing guest. And apart from the fact that, I said something last week, and I said, one of the things I've enjoyed in life, and I'm still enjoying, and I hope to keep enjoying, is the gift of access, is the gift of people. You are wealthy when you have quality people, when you have people and you have access to them. It's not about how much you have in your bank account. It's not about how much you have in your pocket, in your house. It's not about that, because there are times when money will fail you. Trust me. The Bible says that a time came in Egypt, money failed. So, yeah, so money is not everything. It's not about money. People, when you have people, you are truly wealthy. And that is what I've enjoyed and I continue to enjoy. And that's why I'm able to bring people on this platform. I don't pay them, they don't ask me for anything. They just, of their own will, of their own generosity, I'm going to be on this show with you, Pimo. Just a call, sometimes just a text message, sometimes just a chat, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity, for the gift of access. And that is what I'm enjoying today as well, that I have Ogo Adesina with me, to share her story. I've known Ogo now for roughly about close to 10 years thereabout. Thereabout, yeah. Her husband is, her and her husband, particularly, I love them both so dearly. Her husband is one of our pastors in the baptizing church, even though he's not currently in Nigeria anymore. But once a pastor, you're always a pastor. Amazing man of God, amazing man of God. Her and, himself and Ogo, pastored the church for a period of time. Ogo is such an amazing woman. I love her. I may not have known her so closely, but even the little I know, I was telling her when we're chatting that she's so down to earth, so real. So this is it. What you see is what you get. That is Ogo for you. And I know when she started, going bold, and I was like, this is so daring. So when we started putting together the speakers, the guests for these conversations with people, this particular series, What is Your Story? Her name came to my heart and I knew it was God. And the moment I reached out to her, she was more than willing. God has an immune disease or disorder, as you want to call it, called uh, alopecia. And it's an autoimmune disease disorder whereby, autoimmune, it just says that your immune system begins to fight something. It sees something as a foreign body and it begins to fight it. In the case of alopecia, it sees your hair follicle as a foreign body and then it begins to fight it, and then your hair begins to fall off, and then you're wondering what is happening. And I love her particularly because I know she has a story. She's going to tell us her story today. I know she's been through a journey of how, coming to terms with that discovery, and then with that diagnosis, and then accepting it, and then being bold enough to come out and say, yeah, this is what I've got and I'm okay. It doesn't make me less of who I am. And that particularly is what, draws me to this, story that I would love every one of us, to listen, to hear. And it's not just about hair, even though we're talking about hair today, but I believe that Ogo sharing her story is going to encourage a lot of us that have been shying away from owning who we are. We've been shying away from just saying, yeah, this is me. My hair does not define me. What you see external does not define me. What defines me is inside of me. It's always a journey. I'm not saying it's something you're going to do, just like that. You're going to have to walk through it. There's a lot of psychology to it. There's a lot of, if you're a Christian, there's a lot of receiving God's word, owning God's word, loving up on God, seeing yourself through the scriptures, and just confessing who you are. I mean, it's a journey, and I can't wait to hear Ogo's story. Someone says she's so beautiful. Jesu Tofumi says she's so beautiful. Rayo's house, you're welcome. Jasmine Oguns, you're welcome. Oluwatosin, Olu, no, Olukuntoye, yes, thank you. You're welcome. Great to be here. Patience, you're welcome. Thank you, everyone, for joining. So, not to take too much of our time, let us bring our guest as she shares her story with us. Are you guys ready? Yeah. It's so nice.
Hi, Pimo.
Conversations with Pimo.
Hi, Pimo. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. And you look beautiful. I've been getting that comment since I put up your picture. They're like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. She said her eyes are so lovely. I'm like, okay, okay, okay. Oh God, has so many fans now.
I'm blushing.
Thank you once again, honestly, for agreeing to do this with me. And I know that a number of people listening are going to be blessed. I have no doubt about that. And I know for sure that you're very real and very down to earth. And so I know that we're going to get it as it is. And I'm just, going to sit back and just hear you talk and just share your story. Like I said, conversations with people is just conversation. Just be yourself, be free. Let us in as much as you can so that people can truly be blessed. There's something about sharing your story. I'm sure you know that already, that sometimes if you've not walked in people's shoes, it's very hard to tell
Yeah.
them it's going to be okay, it's going to be fine. I
Mm.
haven't had this, I don't have it. So I can as well come and quote scriptures that say, don't worry, you're going to be fine, you're going to be okay, God loves you. You're like, people, you can say, see, your hair is full, you don't even have hairline at you don't even have receding hairline at all. But hearing you share your story, I believe strongly that it's going to, send positive vibes. It's going to send a lot of encouragement to a lot of people that are, tuned in. So let's go right into it. Ogo, tell us your story. What is your story? You said you discovered your first hair patch in 2005 and you were an undergraduate in university. What
Yes.
is your story? Go ahead.
Oh, thank you very much, Pimo, for this opportunity to share. I'm very grateful. And when you reached out to me to come and share my story, it just really, I took time to think about what my story is and realized that there are things that had happened to me that had, some of them are just locked, when you lock something in a box and you throw the key away. And I was just going back and just remembering, going step by step, and it's been a journey, to be honest. But yeah, here we are. So my story, my alopecia story started in 2005. Backtrack a little bit before that. I'd always had fine hair. I have three sisters. And I think they're probably on the call, but I'll say that I think I had the best hair of my sisters. Nice
Wow.
black long hair, like the kind of hair that every hairstylist wants to work with. My hair didn't have drama at all.
Wow.
So there was no reason for me to suspect or feel like anything would ever happen. It's not my hair that they would be pulling at the salon or anything. So in January 2005, on the 18th of January 2005 was the last time I made my hair as it is. That date I can't forget. It was my birthday on the 20th of Jan, so I'd gone to do these braids and just to get ready. I was in my third year, I think third year in university in Ife. One of my colleagues had made my hair and it was so nice and everything. I had that style or that braid on for maybe not two, maybe 7 weeks or so, 8 weeks. Had it on till sometime about March. Then we went home we were going to go home for Easter holiday around March, April.
Right.
Just before I went, I'd taken off the braids. I went to wash my hair just to get ready and everything. And the salonist said that she saw something on the right bottom point. There was a small dot, just a small thing. And she was like, what's this? So I asked her, put my hand on it. And she did. And I was like, oh, maybe I pulled my hair too hard when I was taking the braids off. And she was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Then she gave me some like sulfur or something. And she was like, just put on it. It will grow out. It's not a big deal. Me too. I just took it and I went. So I got home. Everything was okay. And I just noticed during the time I was at home, that period, that when I combed my hair, it would come out. I would lose more hair than usual. But I still didn't think anything of it. I just felt it's either stress or, it could be anything. It's just one of those things. But then it started becoming a little bit too much. So I showed my mom, I told her, I showed her the patch, which had by then, it started off as almost like the size of my finger. But
Right.
by then it had sort of increased. Looked at it, she was like, is there anything else happening on the head? There was nothing else. She was like, it's nothing. Maybe it will just go the way it came. We put some anointing oil, olive oil on it, and we prayed, and that was it. Then I was going back to school, and I did, when you braid your hair and then you put the weave on. Sorry, it's been a long time, but that's,
Right.
yeah, you put the weave on it. So I did that because I didn't want to manipulate the hair too much. I didn't want to have to comb it and everything. I was like, let's just keep it there so that maybe if I comb it less, it won't come up so much. So I went to school. Oh, when I did the hair, I left out a little bit. You know, when you leave out a little bit here and you put
Yes.
it, before all the lace wigs and all those
Yes.
things came out, you
Yes.
put it out and then you try and blend it in. So every morning when I got to school, every morning I would sort of just comb and then I noticed that the hair that was there, after a while, it kept thinning and thinning. I'd look in the mirror, I'd be like, what's going on? So I just stopped even touching the hair at all. I would just tie my scarf and
Wow.
take it off. Like, I don't want to do anything. But that was when I started feeling a little bit concerned. And people would ask me, didn't you leave hair out here initially? What happened? And you know how people will ask. It's mostly from a place of concern.
Right.
Mostly. So I started, tying my hair. After a while, I sort of became very uncomfortable to leave it open. All this while, I still hadn't taken the weave on off. A couple of weeks after I got to school, I decided, you know what, I need to find out what's happening under this hair. I just need to see what's going on. So I asked one of my roommates to please help me loosen the hair. So she did. She was like, your hair sort of feels very light. And I was like, no, don't worry, it's okay. You just loosen the hair and that's it. So she did. I still didn't unbraid the hair that had been braided under. I tied my scarf. It was almost like I was postponing the evil day. I was just dreading
Mm.
it. And I also didn't want anyone to know. I was afraid. I wasn't sure what it was that was going to happen.
Sorry, Ogo. At this
Yes.
point, did you know anything about alopecia?
I'd never heard about it. I'd never seen anyone that had it.
Right.
Nothing. I knew nothing about hair loss that just happens, for no reason as
Suddenly.
an autoimmune condition.
Right.
So that day, it was a Wednesday, I remember. I waited until all my roommates had gone out. I locked the door. I stood in front of the mirror. If I close my eyes, I can still see the whole picture. I stood in front of the mirror and then I started taking off the hair to see exactly what was happening. And with each pull on the hair, my hair would come out in my hand.
Wow.
And I just started crying and I was lost. I was confused. I wasn't sure what was happening. Took all of that off. I was left with patches of hair. Still, the hair was still long, sharp, but it's hair here and there and all that. Looked very, very terrible. So I took my time, sat down, cried, and then tied my hair up. And I was like, okay, what do we do? So I went to call my sister and I was like, see what's happening. And she told me to go to the hospital the next day. She's a doctor. She told me to go to the hospital and tell them this and that and that. And I was like, okay. So that was the beginning of the medical side of trying to find out what is happening. So school is in Ife. So there's a teaching hospital, OAUTH. So I went there, got an appointment to see the dermatologist because, it should be the dermatologist. Got there the first time I met with him. I don't think he knew what it was because he
Wow.
kept asking me questions and then he'll turn and he'll say, do you feel pain here? I said, there's nothing else wrong with me. My hair's just coming out and I don't know why.
Wow.
He was like, okay, he needs to book me with the consultant who would come and check next week. Okay, come next week. I came. The consultant was there. They had camera. They were taking pictures of my head.
Whoa.
It's also a teaching hospital, so there were medical students there. They put me in
So you became
front.
a
They
specimen.
was like, check this and
God.
check that. There was even a guy among the medical students who I was eyeing at the time who just was looking like, what's going on. And so
Oh
it
my
was
goodness. Did
was
you
the
just
most
say that?
it was the most embarrassing thing. Like I was holding back tears. I just couldn't
Oh, wow.
deal with it. And I told myself that was the last time I would go to the hospital because they didn't know what was going on. I might as well just go on with my thing. So that's how it started. So I didn't go to any hospital. I started tying scarves. I started wearing wigs. I became an expert wig wearer.
Wow.
I'd wear wigs from morning till night, back to back. I won't take off a wig unless I'm absolutely alone. And then I have to do a quick switch between taking off my wig and wearing my scarf because anybody can show up at any time.
Wow.
I would have my bath very early in the mornings because that's when there's no one out and no one will ask me any questions. It was very uncomfortable. It also made me very withdrawn because I didn't feel like I should make new friends or talk to people too much, because I
Mm.
just felt any once the interaction becomes too much, they can start asking me about my hair. By the way, why are you always wearing wigs? Or um this your hair, let it breathe now. You're always putting something on it. I didn't used to want to go there. So that's how the journey started. Year on year, we would my parents were always praying. I was always praying. It was a journey where I, realized, some things happen to you and you start asking yourself, is there something wrong with my faith? You would go for prayer meetings, and pastors will pray over you, or someone will prophesy and say, this is it, this is the year. My mom had dreams. Even me, I had dreams like, I'll wake up and
Wow.
say, this hair is coming. I saw it. But here we
Wow.
are. We are still waiting for the hair. It hasn't come.
Wow.
So it was a traumatic experience that I couldn't really speak about or talk to anyone
Mm.
about. I'll just spend hours sometimes crying and just wondering, what is this, what is really happening.
Mm.
So pretty much that's how it went till I left university. When I was about to go for NYSC, I said to myself, I'm going to NYSC camp. Nobody knows me there. Maybe one or two people from school. Maybe I can just take off this thing. And so that was the first time I actually went bald. So for the 3 weeks in camp, I didn't have any wig on. I intentionally went without a wig so that I don't have to fall back on
Wow.
it. So if anyone was in my camp in Osun State in 2009, you would remember me because I was very popular. Not because I
Wow.
wanted to, but everyone used to look at me and just wonder what's going on. Sometimes people would ask me like, "Do you have cancer?" Or they even say sorry ahead of time, like, "Oh, so
Wow.
sorry. Oh, sorry. Are you getting better?" Or they would
Wow.
ask me, "Did you lose someone?" There has to be a reason. Like, you can't just not have hair. Why won't you have hair? There has to be something happening, and also it can't be intentional, by the way. So there has to be, so you have to be either be sick, or you have to be. So I always have had to endure those conversations. I always had to sit and explain and all that. Sometime around 2010, I started researching. Before then, I had gone to the hospital again. So I went again in Toulouse, where I met a doctor. At this point, they started giving me some injections on my scalp. Such a
Mm.
painful thing. I only did it once, and I said
Wow.
not again. So
Wow.
that was it. There was a point where we were prescribed one drug. I can't remember the name. I chose to forget. But it was quite expensive, and we couldn't even find it to buy, and it was barely working. And the doctor had said, if you
Wow.
don't sustain it, whatever hair growth you experience, you would lose. I'm like,
Wow.
what are we doing? So all of that up and down. One time we even went to see a pastor. My mom's on this call, so maybe I shouldn't talk too much about it, but we went to see a guy. That's just to show you how desperate, we were at the time, and just wanting to get an answer, just something to explain it. And of
Yeah.
course, nothing came out of it. I've had to rub salt on it and water, oil. There's nothing that this head of mine hasn't endured.
Wow.
So, well, nothing changed. We continued. Around 2010, I then started reading up and just trying to find. I can't possibly be the only one that this thing is happening to now. I'm sure there are other people that are going through this. And I started reading about hair losses. And then I stumbled upon alopecia, the definition of it. It was like, wow, this is a thing, and it's not just me, and people are going through it. So where's everyone else who's going through it?
So,
What are they
so
doing?
Ogo, sorry. At that point when you were going to the hospital, they were giving you the injection, the drugs. They hadn't diagnosed it.
No. I always say
Wow.
I'm self-diagnosed. I never really, I didn't ever hear a doctor tell me this is what it is. I found out by myself based on my own research and my own, and all
What
the
were they
symptoms
treating?
and signs.
What were they treating?
That's a good question.
Because I'm like, what were they treating for God's sake?
So I think there have been some. research around hair loss and
Okay.
some confusion around what it could potentially be. But when I then found out that chances of a regrowth are very slim, it happens to people,
Mm.
but usually in the first year, if it doesn't happen in like the first couple of years, then chances are very, very slim that it would happen. So, I don't know what they were treating on, but me, we were grasping at straws, just anything,
Wow.
just
Mm.
tell us that this drug will work,
Mm.
and I used to say then that if someone had told me that, just go down into this dark hole and do this and do that and do that, in my desperation, I could probably have done it because that's how desperate
Wow.
I was at the
Mm.
time. So yeah, so I found out that it was alopecia, and then eventually I got married. When I had my son, the month after I had my son, my hair started growing back. Even I have one picture of it, and the only places I didn't have hair was maybe it was just like all around here there was no hair, but the hair had been growing. The first initial spot didn't have hair as well, so that spot was like the OG spot. It wasn't having it; it was just there. But a couple of months afterwards, the hair just went off again. So I just had a moment of flash, as if to say, "Hey, I'm here," and then that was it.
Wow.
So that's how the journey has been. But I still continued wearing my wigs because I was just very uncomfortable with questions and people asking me. And when you're so conscious of yourself, you can't be
Mm.
free. You go to a
Mm.
place, someone is walking behind you, and your mind is like, are they going to pull my wig off? Or is the person going to hit me accidentally and something's going to shift? So it just always made me feel very closed up in a way. I didn't really feel like I could be myself, or I could just do what I wanted to do, or just be free, because I just always felt I had these secrets that I didn't want anyone to know about or ask me about. And it's just hair, for God's sake. Um, but so that's how it continued on and on and on. Around 2017,
Mm.
I moved here to the UAE, and I thought again, this is maybe another chance for me
Mm.
to. Now I'm in a new place, no one knows me. I don't care. Maybe I can just do this again. But still, I was still holding back. I was still not sure. I was still concerned about the stairs and if people would look at me funny. So I still didn't.
Mm.
But gradually, one of the considerations that I also had was I wanted to be sure that my family was comfortable with it. I wanted to be sure that my husband was comfortable with it, because sometimes people won't come and ask me the questions. They'll go to ask them, right? And say,
Is
what's
Ogo
happening?
fine?
Is she okay?
It's okay.
So before I start showing my head out, you guys know that this is coming, and you know the answers. If they ask you, this is the answer. That's it. So I had to make sure that I had done that, and had those conversations with family, and everyone was okay. Like, it's as long as you're okay, we're okay. So family support has been very, 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 like, one of the pillars of support that I've had at my
Mm.
family. So that's how I sort of started. I started off just short distances. I'll go without my wig, and then I extended it to anywhere I was going, but I'll still wear wigs to work. And then one day I had a conversation with a colleague at work, and I told her, I'm thinking about not wearing wigs. And she was like, oh, you're wearing wig? I didn't notice. So I took off my wig in the office. We were in a room, and I explained to her everything that had happened. And she was like, I don't think anyone will notice. I don't think anyone
Wow.
cares if you
Wow.
have hair or not in the office. Maybe they'll ask you once, but once someone asks you the first time, that's it. They won't ask you again, because now they know. So everyone gets a chance once, they get the answer, and that's it. I don't think you
Mm.
should be shy about it. I think you can do it. So that fateful Tuesday or Wednesday, it was midweek. I went to work on the first. So we work here on Sundays. I went to
Right.
work on Sunday and Monday with a wig on, and on Tuesday I came to work bald, and people just looked at me like, "Oh, what happened? You took your hair off?" I was like, "Yeah," and that was it.
Wow.
And pretty much since then, it's been just me, my head, and I. So that's how the journey has been. That's what the story has been. And there were times when I really felt, looking back on it, it could have been depression. Maybe if I
Mm.
think about
Mm.
it. But those are times, like I said, that I've just blocked out of my mind, where I will just cry. I would go really deep and dark, and just really feel like, what is this? What is happening? I'm definitely not on God's favorite list.
Wow.
I'm definitely being forsaken. What is
Wow.
going on? But I'm just grateful to have, walked through my journey up to this
Mm,
point. I've spoken to people who have alopecia now, who are still, not yet ready to, take off their wigs and everything. And it's okay. Everyone has their journey.
yeah.
The best thing is for you to come to that point by yourself where you realize, um, this is it, this is me, and this is how I want to be. You can wear your wigs, but not denying the fact that this is how I am now, and this is,
Yeah.
you take me as I am, or keep walking.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much, Ogo. I mean, the comments are just like everybody is just like, wow, wow. Someone said exactly like her story. So obviously, I'm sure we have a number of people who are also going through something similar, on this. There's such a similar story. And someone here said, of course, the person, Michelle, said it's a devastating feeling, when you were talking about back in school when all the students, doctors had to start
Oh,
scrutinizing. It can really be very embarrassing, honestly. And someone here said, "Thanks for sharing your story." Oh God, that's Christine. Uh, like Rayo's house said, the hair will come in Jesus' name. I think we passed that. If the hair comes, fine. If it doesn't
he
come,
can
we're
come if
fine.
he wants. If he doesn't want to come, it's on his
I'm
own,
telling
man.
you. Wow. And someone said, okay, okay, okay. So there are a few questions, but I'll get to that. But before that, okay, so I just want to ask, you just said it now, and that is so true. How, what you just said confirmed to me that sometimes people are going through things,
Yeah.
personal things.
Mm.
We don't know what they're going through. But because they are withdrawn, we judge them.
Yes.
And we say, what's wrong with this madam? What is
Yes.
wrong with this madam? She's not this. You were at some point a pastor's wife, at least for a period of time. So I'm sure it's possible that some people were like, oh, this pastor's wife, why is she not this? Why is she this? But the truth is, they had no clue
Yeah.
what you were battling with and what you were walking through. And that is a lesson for all of us. It's
Yeah.
a huge one, even for myself, that sometimes can we just understand people? Can we just try and let them be? That
Yes.
sometimes it's not that you've done anything wrong and
Yes.
they are just hating on you.
Yes.
They're battling with things personal and they're just trying to walk their way through it. And your story
Absolutely.
just confirmed that, just now. And I'm really so proud of you, sharing that. And I want to ask, um, you talked about family support being one of your, strongest mechanism of being able to go through this journey.
Yes.
How were you able? Okay, I know your husband was in Ife with you. So
Yeah.
had he always been in the know of this journey?
Yes.
And
Good question.
yeah, how was he able to provide, the support when you diagnosed it? And it's when you started, not even diagnosed, when you started whatever, when you got married, and then when you finally decided, okay, I am off this week.
Yeah.
What was his reaction? Practically, how was he able to support you through it? Because I know a lot of
Um,
guys love ladies with hair.
they
That's the
do.
truth. I've met people who are like, Pima, I want to cut my hair. My husband says no. Pima, I want to cut my hair. My husband says no. So, let's hear
Yes.
from you.
So yeah, we were both in school. We met in school. Um, and we were friends. Um, about a year after this whole thing, I'd realized that the hair was gone. I was in school then, in my maybe in my third year or fourth year. One day I just said to him, then we were still friends, but when you know that you're friends, but there's something's coming. So I wanted to just said, let me get this out of the way before, in case it's a deal breaker, so that you go your way, I go my way. That was what was in my
Wow.
mind. Just quickly know
Wow.
about it. If you are the type that wants to be rubbing hair, there's nothing to rub.
Oh my God.
So I said that I want to show you something. I want to tell you something. I made such a big deal about it. You know how you tell someone in the morning, I want to talk to you about something, let's talk later, let's talk later. And then that evening, I took off my wig and I was like, he was just looking at me. So when I was done, he was like, that's what you wanted to say. That's what you've been building up the whole day. I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Maybe it will grow back. Maybe it will grow back. And that was like the end of the conversation. No questions asked. He just moved on like it was like, oh,
Wow.
that's what it is. So he had known from all that time, through dating and everything. He knew, so he would know if something not if he doesn't see anything that has happened and I just suddenly become withdrawn or I start crying for no reason, he would understand why. Back then, all you needed to just say was, this is my hair safe. I don't even know what to do to it around me. And I would just, something would just break.
Wow.
It's like you even have
Wow.
hair and you are complaining. Me that I now don't
Wow.
have uncle. Just you are just doing your own thing or say, I don't even know what I should do to this hair next week or what style should I make? And you're not even
Right.
asking me. What? So it just would make me to start crying and I would become so sad and all. And he knew all about that. So he would just encourage me and say, it's okay, we'd pray about it, we believed, and all that. So he was just always there. And then when I started talking about, I think I want to do this now. I think I want to do this now. And he just kept saying, once you're ready, I'll be ready when you're ready. You're really ready. So it's not
Mm,
do today and go back tomorrow. Once you're really,
mm,
really ready, I'm ready. So he
mm,
didn't have any issues with it at all. So, but of course, I had to speak to his family so that because some of them didn't know what was happening, so they don't just wake up
mm,
one day and see
mm,
what's going on. So we had all those conversations. Everyone was aligned and all that. So he had just always been there, silent support when you just know that this person understands you, gets you, and all that. He still likes hair. It's not like he doesn't like hair. He's probably listening somewhere, and I know that he does. But it's not a big deal. It's not an issue. We still talk about it. We still laugh about
right.
it.
Right.
So it's not anything that has gone in the way or affected, the relationship in that way. Yeah, so that's my husband's side of things. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And I give it up to my Pastor Deji. To be Dash. Thank you so much for just being so supportive. That is huge, Ogo. And I know that you know that and you appreciate that, honestly, because some people do make it a big deal. And I
Yes.
know that his support, even if he was the only one that supported you, I know
Yes.
your family does, your sisters, your siblings, your mom, but even if he was the only one that was like, oh God, I'm with you on this, and that is enough for you, especially as a woman, and as a wife. It just gives you that kind of acceptance. Not that you're
Yes.
seeking it, but
Yes.
he has something that he does to you. Now,
Yeah.
how old are your kids? You have a boy and a girl. How old are they?
Yes. I have a 6-year-old and a 3.5-year-old. So
Okay,
six and
your
three. Yeah.
your son is 6. I know that.
Yes. Yes.
So how does he feel? Have you had conversations about this?
Yeah. We've had conversations. We've talked about it. I don't remember that we've sat down to just talk only about the hair. He's asked me before, why don't you have hair? And I've told him, well, initially I used to say, how I used to explain to him, I would say my hair just got tired of being on my head and it took a walk. And then he would say, is the hair going to come back and all that? But more recently, when we talk about it, I explain it to him and say what it is. That sometimes your body does things that it's even your body itself doesn't understand. And in
Mm,
this case, it's about the hair.
mm,
Because I realized that he would also have to answer the questions like, why is your mom like this? So for me, it's important that
yeah.
he knows what the answer is beyond just saying, I don't know. That's just how he is. Funny enough, one time, I always get stares from small kids. It's almost something I now have gotten used to. And I overheard someone from his class or a friend when I went to pick him up say something like, "Why does your mom have no hair?" And he was like, "Well, she just doesn't have hair." And the person was like, okay. And he was like, there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes people have hair and sometimes people don't. And I felt
Wow.
so proud, like,
Oh,
he now already understands that it's you accept yourself for who you are. It's not a big deal. And I'm just proud and glad that he gets the concept and he understands it. And so, it gives me joy.
awesome, awesome. That I can imagine how you feel, how you felt when
I
he,
was so proud.
he was like, he stood up for his mom, like, that's no
Yeah.
big deal. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. And that is going to go a long way, even as he grows older, and he begins to understand this thing even deeper. And I
Yes.
love that he's embracing it and you're embracing that with him as well. Okay, so I want you to share with us uh, what practical steps did you take? So you said it that, to quote you word for word, that there was a time you felt, you were in a deep hole, like you went through. If we were to term it today, we could probably term it depression. How were you able to walk yourself to that point where you were confident enough? So preparing for this particular conversation, actually did a bit of, my own little study. Googled
I
a few
noticed.
things. Yeah, I googled a few things, and I stumbled on a Dr. Phil's video where he was interviewing a mom of a 10-year-old girl who had alopecia, and she discovered she was diagnosed. The baby was about 18 months when she was diagnosed, and the mother was sharing how devastating it was for her, and having to take that child through that process. And you know how it is, the bullying, the shaming, the naming. You had your own
Yes.
fair share. Imagine people looking at you and saying sorry. I don't know how we behave like that. Honestly, I don't know. It really, it really baffles me, and I think it's a Niger thing. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to discriminate, but we're still gonna get there. Like you're in UAE, I'm still gonna get there. But I think it would have been a bit more acceptable if you were in the US, in Canada, in wherever, because there are people, even if, people who had cancer, I don't think anybody will go up to them and be saying, hey, yakpele, sorry. Yeah, okay. It's just so embarrassing. And if anybody's listening to me on this call, stop it if you are doing such a thing. Please stop it. It is so embarrassing, especially when you don't know what the person is, why the person has whatever it is, So I want you to share with us, what were the practical steps that you take? How did you finally come to that place of owning yourself? I love that you also said there were times when, you were praying and believing God, you had dreams, your mom had dreams, you were hopeful. Do you understand? You were hopeful, but somehow it seems like this is the path God is taking. So, how were you able to come to terms as a believer that
Yes.
even though I had dreams, even though my mom had dreams, even though I probably had a word from God, but I've come to that point that God is still God and I'm still his daughter. He loves me,
Yeah.
nevertheless. Please share with us.
So I will start by saying that first of all was the time where I was going through the feeling of being abandoned and all that was the time where I felt farthest away from God, if I can put it that way. So I just totally disconnected. I wasn't interested anymore, and you know when people are saying see what God did, see what God didn't do, I'm just like, yeah, but me now that I'm not your favorite child, I can stay at the back of the line until you get to me. So what happened was there was one day I went for an event, and the woman was talking about gratitude. That was where it started. She was just talking about gratitude and how people can be so self-centered. You forget what you have and you center in on the one or two or three things that you feel that you don't have. And that conversation stuck with me as I went home that day. And I started thinking about it because before then, everything that, if I go to church and someone is preaching about giving to the poor, someone's preaching about faith, everything, I see everything through the lens of how can I connect this into this thing that I'm going through? How can I never think about anything else. It was just the one big thing that I centered in on. I think that conversation that I heard was the seed that was sown. And then I started thinking about it and saying to myself, but you have all these things that are going on. You have all these things that are working for you. You have family that love you. You have friends that are there for you. But you choose not to see any of this, and you choose to center yourself in the middle and say, this big thing, oh, this is the one. The other things that you've prayed and believed for that didn't happen. For example, I wanted to have 270 in my jam. I didn't have 270. I prayed and prayed and prayed and said, God, this 270 is me and you. I didn't get it. Did anything happen? Have I not moved on? So what is different about this one challenge now that you cannot trust God? And if it's not happening, you say, okay, that's fine. Just keep looking at the bright side and the other things that are going well in your life. And if it comes, it comes. And if it doesn't come, it's your journey. Just learn to walk in it. So I then started thinking about that, expanding on it, and that's how sort of I started gradually coming out. I would also say that journaling and writing helped me a lot. So just bringing out my feelings rather than keeping them up here, or sometimes talking to my mom, my sisters, my husband, just bringing it out rather than keeping it in. And because I had people around me who would let me be, in terms of they would let me
Mm,
cry, they would
mm,
let me, just
mm,
let myself out and let everything out. It really helped me. So once I started looking at my life not as, oh, everything about me is hair. Oh, I can't move 2 steps. Oh my gosh, my hair. My perspective changed, my mindset changed. And I think that was where the shift really came from. And that's where the shift started from. When I realized that I can't be saying God is intentional about this and that in my life, but everything else, because I'm not having my way, all of a sudden it's like God doesn't care about me. I'm just being a child that is wanting something. Because I can't have it, I'm now, throwing tantrums and stuff. And once I started thinking about life that way and started thinking about myself that way, that's where the change came from. I can't pinpoint one particular day and this was a boom. It just was like gradual thing. And then I would look back and say, looks like, I'm starting to see things differently. I'm starting to see everything that's happening differently. So maybe this is not even for me. Maybe the
mm,
reason I'm going through this is not about me. Maybe it's about
mm.
someone else. Maybe there are people that need me to go through this for them to be able to believe and for them to be able to walk in their own realities. How about I think about my life that way? How about I just see that this is God being intentional and wanting to teach me something, through this journey? How about that? And that's sort of how, with each passing day, it sort of evolved, and my mindset changed and I started seeing myself differently. And people would say, yeah, okay, when you scrape your hair, you have nice head shape. I've heard that so many times. Your head shape is nice. I told them it's part of the plan. Maybe God had already seen that this hair will not work last. So let's mold the head, because there's going to be a time when there will be no head there. So I just look at it as being God being so intentional about everything, even until the detail of the shape of my head and all that. So that's pretty much what I would say about how I walked through from that point to this point. I'm part of a group. It's called HAF, Heroic Alopecia Foundation,
Mm.
and when I hear the stories of people and things that they've been through, we have a couple of moms who have kids that are going through, who are living with alopecia. When you hear kind of stories that they're going through, you realize that there's a reason why
Mm.
you should be able to tell your story. There's a reason why, and it really encourages me and pushes me to want to support people more, to want to help people more, to be able to get them to the same place that I've gotten to. So yeah.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much. That is so beautiful and so inspiring. I love that you say that it was just in bits, gradually, one day at a time. It wasn't a one-time thing. And I love that. I want to believe that that message of gratitude that you heard, like you said, is the seed that God sowed to begin to recalibrate your heart in a different direction. And I think you're going through what you went through those years before you came to that point of realization was also part of the story, and you needed to go through that.
Yes.
So it was okay that, because now you can empathize with
Yes.
people who are going through the dark tunnel. You can tell
Yeah.
them, I've been there and I
Yeah.
was a believer. I loved
Yeah.
God,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought he didn't love me enough. I thought I wasn't one of his favorite children. I thought there's something I've done. Some people would have thought so many things. Something I did in the past, God is punishing me. something my parents did. Why am I the only one? And the fact that you even have sisters. And like you started your story, your hair was like the juicy one of all of them, or the juiciest of all of them,
Yeah.
and somehow it was now you that had to go through that. But one thing I picked from what you just said that really gladdens my heart is the fact that you've come to see a ministry in this. You've come to see it as a tool. And I love it. Sometimes God actually uses us. I like to use that word as his lab rats. Now, not in that term like that, but sometimes he just because the Bible says he will not put on us more than we can bear. And
Yes.
even when we think like, I can't bear this is too embarrassing, this is too much, why me? God knows what he has put in us, the same way he has shaped your head before you were born. Like, this head must be fine because hair is not going to be on it for a while,
Yes.
and he had put in the resilience, he's put in the confidence, he's put in everything in the right measure. And at the right time, he just, began to see it evolve and you just come into your own self. I'm sure you never ever imagined some 20 years back that you will be here like this. And then even when you were going through, you probably never imagined you will be able to share this story the way you're sharing it.
Yeah.
It's so much humor and just getting people blessed. A lot of comments here. And let me just read a few and thank you so much, Ogo. Honestly, I myself have been so encouraged. And okay, so let me see. Okay. Okay, someone said, is your alopecia scary? I don't know what that means. It's not scary, right?
No, no, it's not. It's not scary. I think the person could also be asking if it's scarring because there's scarring
Okay,
alopecia. It
okay,
could
okay,
be.
yes, scarring, yeah, sorry.
No, it's not. It's
Okay,
just alopecia areata. It's not scarring alopecia.
right,
So there are
okay,
different types of alopecia.
yeah,
Mine is the one that I still have. Like like my head, you still see spots on my hair. Like I still have small spots where hair comes out from. I just regularly have to scrape it off so that it looks, nice and hot and
uniform.
stuff. Um, um, so there's also alopecia totalis, which is where the whole hair is off, but the person would have hair on the other parts of their body. And there's alopecia universalis, where
Yeah,
there's absolutely no hair at all on any part of the body. But this is not scarring alopecia; it's just areata.
yeah. I read up on that too. So
Yeah. No Pimo.
yes. So Kay Ebenua said there's nothing like spouse who knows the challenges you face and stands by you.
Absolutely.
Oluwatosi said, thank you, Ogo, for sharing your story. Hey, Pastor Deji has put a smiley face. Yeah, definitely he was watching, so he has come to support you. Like, go, girl, I'm with you. Thank you, sir. Okay, so someone said, I'm coming. Let me just scroll down. Enough respect for Pastor Deji. Yes, 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 yes. We have them like that. Our Kingdom Brothers. Someone said, whoa, this is so lifting. Thank you. Uh, Judge Judy says, funny, the first time I saw you, I just kept thinking, gosh, Jesus, how bold. She said, you're a queen. Thank you. Someone said, your husband is the real MVP. Thank you. Judge Judy says again, I was so smitten. And then I go on her page as I was smitten with her bold look. And then I saw where she wrote about her journey. And all of a sudden felt so silly to be hailing her bold beauty. No, don't feel silly. It's okay. She's beautiful and she's
Hail
bold.
me, oh, hail my beauty,
Please
please.
hail her. We receive all the hailing. Someone said, I met Ogodesh when I was a member of TBC Oregon. I had no idea. She's always been so beautiful. Thank you. Judge Judy says, I wasn't sure what to do as I wasn't sure how my comments made her feel, but Ogo was like, it's fine, it's fine. I'm sure there are tones like me who look at you and feel the same way I feel. Oh, thank you. I see power, boldness, strength, and all of that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Someone said, Pimo, sometimes if you don't show concern, the person end up saying you don't care. Yes, I understand showing concern, but show concern in a positive way, not
Yes.
are you okay, pele, when you don't even know what you're saying pele for.
Yeah. The
So
truth
some
is, people
people,
can tell. The truth is, people can tell when you're genuinely concerned or when you're just looking for gist or when you are just, because if you're saying pele to someone when you don't know what's happening, it's because you want them to just, it doesn't show concern. And I can always tell when someone is saying what's wrong with you because they want to just gist rather than just giving me space and talking in a way that gives me the space to be able to talk about it if I want to. And sometimes the person doesn't really want to talk about it or they don't feel ready to talk about it, and that's
mm-hmm,
okay. But just
mm-hmm,
knowing that, someone else cares about them, someone else cares enough to say, how are you? I hope you're okay. I think Pimo is someone who says, how are you a lot. I hope you're okay. And just giving the person that freedom to say, it's okay if you want to speak, and if you don't want to, it's also fine. I think that is what really makes the difference.
awesome, awesome. Someone says very educative and inspiring. I love Ogo for being who you are. Thank you.
Thank
You are
you.
so beautiful, sister. I'm proud of you, Ogochuku. I think that's your mom. Your mom is Rose.
Yes. Go,
Oh,
mommy.
mommy,
Go,
thank
mommy. Go,
you.
mommy. Go, mommy.
Thank you, mommy. Yes, we are so proud of her too. Very educative. Yeah, someone said, Ogo is so fine. Someone said, I've learned something. We make more of a big deal of it than other people. Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, my final question. I say, God bless your colleague, the one you spoke with at work, and just gave you that push. She is, sorry, God sent.
Yeah.
And I believe she was just, that push that you needed, to do that. And so I just want to ask, you are in an environment that is 95%, possibly 99% Islamic.
Yep.
So the cover hair and all of that, you're in Dubai. How
Yeah.
have you managed since you decided no more wigs, I'm just gonna be myself? You go to work, okay, well, maybe before the pandemic, and all of that. Maybe
Yeah.
you've resumed work now. So how have you been able? You go to the stores, you go to places. If you were South Africa, I probably wouldn't ask you this question because South Africans go bald a lot, and it's
Yes.
not even alopecia; it's
Yes.
fashion for them. So, but being in Dubai, how have you managed?
So the first thing is Dubai is also quite a progressive city. So while it is a Muslim country, UAE is a Muslim country, it's also very progressive and quite welcoming to all types of people. Dubai is a heavily expat country where you have people from all types of nationalities. So it hasn't been a challenge in any way. I would have felt it would have been more of a challenge in Nigeria, where
Yeah,
we're 50% Christians and Muslims, than it is here. I've not had
right.
anyone stop me to ask me anything. People look at me, but I've gotten so used to being stared at that I sometimes don't even notice that someone is looking at me or someone is wondering what's wrong with me. So it's not, to be honest with you, it's not been a challenge at all. The
Mm,
first time I tried to go out bald in Nigeria, it was in Lagos. It was with my mom in Surulere on there's a street called Adelabu. That's how much I remember it. It was many years ago. And people were not just staring, they were also making comments because we don't
wow.
keep thoughts to ourselves. We have to share. We have to say, what's going on? Why are you doing like this? La 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 la. But here, no one says anything. They look
Wow.
at you and that's it. And so it's not been anything that I've had to think about or consider or wonder about. I was concerned until I then decided to do it, and I saw that I was just concerned for nothing. So it's been very, very, very okay. Very, very okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank
I
you for
wanted to
sharing.
add one more thing, not
Go
about the
ahead.
question you asked, but one of the things that I had, when I lost the hair and I was still in that process of coming to terms, one of the things that I said to God was that it would help if I don't have a daughter because I don't know how this thing works. I don't understand it. So if you don't bring a girl my way, it will help us, both of us, so that I don't have any hair drama or anybody that's I'm trying to. I don't want to live always worried and concerned about, am I going to pass this on to someone? Is my daughter going to have to deal with this kind of thing? So just give me boys, and let's just do it that way and we'll be okay. And I used to confess it like it was like it was a thing. I'll just say, boy, 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 and everything. But I think maybe my husband must have been confessing something else, because I didn't I then ended up with a girl. But what it has shown me is that I've really gone through this journey, because
Mm,
there's no fear, there's no worry, there's no
mm,
doubt.
mm,
I'm not projecting my fear on her to say,
mm.
oh my God, I want to be sure I'm doing everything right, so she doesn't also go through the same thing, or whatever. So it's just, I've thought about it recently, and I was like, my mindset has really changed. When I look back on where I'm coming from and how I am now about all of the alopecia thing, I see that I've grown. And it also helps me to give people grace on their own journeys, because you
Yeah,
don't expect people to just come from point A to point B just because you've been through it,
yeah,
because you understand that everything takes time. So you give
yeah,
people grace, give them space to grow, give them, the same grace that you have received, you extend the same to them.
yeah.
So I just wanted to add that piece as sort of something
Wow.
else to add.
And thank God you did. Thank God you didn't hold that back. That was so inspirational. Thank you so much for that. I'm so loaded. And there was something you said, as we tie this up, when you were talking about people who are going through it, and that it's okay if you haven't gotten to that point where you want to go bald. It
Yeah,
doesn't. It doesn't mean I Ogo is more superhero than you are. No,
absolutely.
like she said, she's a work, in progress. So it was something that had to go through a process. And even if you don't, if you still want to wear your wigs, it's
Yeah,
okay. It
it
doesn't.
is.
The most important thing is you've come to accept the disorder and you're living with it and you're living your life to the full. There was
Yes,
something you said, about when you still had wigs on. It didn't make you live your life to full because you kept feeling like, what if this person knows? What if that person knows? What if my hair, my wig suddenly goes off? What if this happens? What that, so there was always a lot of what if. You're so cautious. So you
yes,
can't be free.
yeah,
What we are saying today is to get to that point where you are free. You're
yes,
free of yourself, as
for
in you're not
sure.
holding yourself back. You're not
Yes,
allowing what has happened to define you or determine how far you go in life. And you
yes,
don't allow that put you in a box as
yes,
such that you cannot live your life to the full.
yes,
It took August some years to get there, but by the grace of God, she's there and she's helping others to get there as well. So I think that is the summary. We're not trying to say, oh, yeah, go out there and ditch all your wigs and all of that. We're just trying to say, hear the story of someone who has been on a journey of becoming, a journey of owning herself, a journey of accepting what God is doing with her and
yes,
being able to live her life to the full. That is our
absolutely.
joy. That is the aim. So what, and it doesn't have to be hair alone. It can
Yes,
be something else again. For
yes,
her is hair. For some other people is something else. I'm too short. I'm too tall. I'm too fat. I'm too thin. My skin is peeling. My skin is not fresh. So many things we women just consider big deals. They are big deals. I don't doubt it. But we make it so uh, it stifles us. It reduces our
correct.
expression. And that's
Yes,
not what God wants for us. With or
yes,
without whatever it is we're passing through, we're still able to live life to the full. So, Olga, please, what would you
absolutely.
like to say to us as we wrap this up? Your they call it parting words now to wrap this up.
Yeah, I mean, I've totally enjoyed being here with you, Pimo. I can't believe it's been an hour already.
Yes,
Thank you so much for the opportunity to come on here and to just share and just have this chat. I just want to say to everyone, and if you're going through anything, whether it has to do with your hair or whether it doesn't have to do with your hair, like I said before, give yourself grace as well. It's a journey. Know that God is intentional about you to the very smallest detail. If you are in doubt, maybe read Psalm 139 and just see what
yeah,
God says about you. give yourself grace. You will get through it, and it will become a source of strength for the person. It's like we're all on a line. Once you pass through, you give the baton to the next person. It gives them that strength to say, if this person can do it, and if this person has done it, then I can
Yeah.
also do it too. But it doesn't have to take a day. You don't have to arrive there immediately. It's
Right.
a journey. It's a step-by-step journey. And if you know someone who's going through things, or you know someone, even if you don't know if they're going through things, just be kind to people. Just
Yeah.
show empathy. Just be kind. It doesn't take much to be kind to someone, to give a smile, to be the person that someone feels comfortable to be able to share with. Just be warm to people. And we'll make the world a better place, one smile at a time.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Be kind to people. Thank you so much, Ogo. Plenty love from me to
Thank
you and
you.
to my adorables and to my pastor, Pastor P Dash, Pastor Deji Additional. Thank you so much. Love you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Fimo. Bye.
Wow, such an inspiring story. I mean, be kind, people. Be kind to people. Be kind. Let's show some empathy. Let's not get all into people's business just for gist. Let's truly care for one another. And then there are some group of people over spiritual people. You now want to say, have you prayed enough? Have you fasted? Have you gone for deliverance? They did not ask you. They did not ask you. Keep it. Say something positive. If they need your counsel, they ask you, give it to them. But above all, I love her parting words. Be kind. Be kind. Let's show a little kindness as we go. So the next time who is joining me, you see someone bored, don't go and be looking at them and be gisting with your friends. What's wrong with that girl? Stop it. Don't be doing that again. Wow, it's been such an inspiring time with Ogo Adesina. You can follow her on Facebook, on Instagram. If you know someone going through it that you feel the person needs encouragement, I'm sure she'll be more than willing, to share her time to counsel and probably to add you to the HAF group, I believe, a support group for people living with alopecia. Alopecia is not a contagious disease. Before someone will start feeling like something, now we've been educated and we know, and it doesn't mean that the person is sentenced to something. No, and I thank God that Ogo has been able to find a ministry within what she went through as a painful experience, and today she's become an evangelist with her story. I'm waiting for your story. I'm waiting for you to share your story. I'm waiting for you to go out there and just be a blessing. You never know. You never know what your story is going to do in the life of someone listening to you. So we continue by clockwork next week, Tuesday, with another amazing guest of mine. We're just going to be sharing stories. And if you have a story, you're listening to me, you have a story that you feel the world should hear about, a story of hope, a story of encouragement, of faith, of love, please do not hesitate to send me a message. You can send me an inbox on Facebook. You can send me a mail through pimosecrets@gmail.com. You can send me, a mail at mori.oshumakinde@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining me. To all my supporters club, everyone giving one comment or the other. Thank you. Her Instagram handle is Ogodesh. Ogodesh. You can check her out, Ogodesh. On Facebook, she's Ogochuku Adeshino. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I love you all. God bless you. Have a wonderful, restful evening. Till I come your way again next week, be good, be kind.